I don't know what number bike this is now, but you know, saw it on eBay, bought it. It is a O'Brien, whatever that is. Can you focus on it? There you go. An O'Brien Challenge. Never heard of that brand before. Is it just a sticky badge? It's just a sticker badge. But you know, it was a good size. Looked like it had some half decent parts on, so paid 25 quid for it. Anyway, this bike, never heard of O'Brien before, but it has a ATAX stem on it, so that piques my interest. I could probably sell that for as much as I paid for the bike. Just got some normal Vineman calipers, some Vineman brake levers. No idea what this saddle is, but it looks like it's just a modern-ish replacement. It's Brooks saddle bag support, so that's worth what, tenner. Some nice clips on it. Vineman, got a dynamo set of lights. As for the shifters, there they are. Hewitt shifters, which look like they could clean up nicely. I've got a Suntour VX rear derailleur, so obviously that doesn't match the Hewitt shifters. Ooh, there we go. And up front we've got, oh, it's a Hewitt derailleur as well. Okay, it's a Hewitt derailleur. Oh, that's really dark. There we go. So that'll clean up. I was actually thinking like 70s, but looking at that style of front derailleur, it could be earlier. And you'll probably notice that if it's got a front derailleur, it should have two chain rings, but there's only one. So there's a chain ring missing, the outer chain ring. I might have one spare. I'll check it. I haven't cleaned it yet, so I haven't looked at any detailing. It's got some nice celluloid mudguards actually, and they have got an engraving on the back. I did notice what they're called. It says made in Britain. There's an engraving there. You will not be able to pick this up on the camera, I don't think. Very faint there, you can see it. But it says Champion du Monde Hugh Porter. Champion du Monde. So I'll look at that, research that. I need to do a lot of research on this bike. But yeah, here it is. I'm just gonna give it a quick clean and then start to take it apart. But I think I'm gonna keep this original paint. But yeah, I might get it powder coated the same orangey colour, but it might be nice to keep the patina on it. Okay, bike number 736.72. Well, plans change, and the bike is no longer, well, it's no longer what you think it is. I've decided that the paintwork was a little too rough to keep. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a Holdsworth replica. So I took it down to the powder coaters, and they've done a brilliant job coating it this nice orange, which is pretty damn close to what Holdsworth use. So I always bung up all the holes for them ready, and then they just carefully strip it back and powder coat it. So there we have it, powder coated frame. So what I've got to do now is I've got these decals here to put on. These are modern versions because Holdsworth actually re-released their classic bikes and redesigned the decals. So these are the modern variants, so it doesn't get too confusing because this is a replica. So I'm going to put these on, and what I've also got, because when I was walking around Derailleurs, and knowing that this bike came with a double chainring but only had a single on it, I picked up this chain set, which is a nice, really nice Williams chain set, and it only cost me £15. It's real close ratio. I think it's like a 48-46. No, 48-44. So it's real close ratio. But yeah, chrome is in really good condition. It will go nice on that bike. Just need to clean down all the parts, and then I'm going to spend a good amount of time polishing them, put these decals on, and then we can start assembling everything and get a Holdsworth replica on the go. Et voila. Some Holdsworth decals on. Let's focus on those. Yeah, they're not too bad. Look alright. They're a bit tricky to get on and get lined up, but they've gone on alright. A couple of air bubbles that just need to sort out. But yeah, there we go. Ready to be reassembled. So after hours of polishing and cleaning and what have you, we're ready to roll. Did I change leaves on this? No, I didn't. I've literally just polished everything up, cleaned everything up super well, replaced the bolt in the stem, managed to get a brand new one. So that stem's cleaned up really well, bars are cleaned up well, and the brake levers. I stripped down the shifters, polished those up individually, and got them clean. The front derailleur, basically just gave that a good scrub, but that's cleaned up nicely as well. I ran it over the polisher, but I mean there's not much on there to polish. There's a couple of bits of chrome, bits cleaned up nicely. Rear derailleur, literally just cleaned that, and that was beautiful as it was. I haven't done any polishing on that whatsoever. That's just literally came up that clean. And then what we got? Brake calipers. So brake calipers are all polished up. There we go. Shiny. Seat post and pin. I've swapped the seat post for 25.4 because it should be a 26.2. I got an adapter because that's a nice seat post I had in my stock, and the other one was all rusted. And last but not least, for now, a saddle. The old saddle on this was just a plastic one that had been put on. I managed to find this Brooks B5N, which was in really nice condition, fairly cheap on eBay. So that is going to go on the bike. So in the morning I can take all this down, including the Williams crankset, and build the bike. Okay, so we're back in the garage, and naturally someone's cutting the grass outside, so that's in the background. But yeah, first things first, headset. Need to get that pressed in and pressed onto there. Get it greased up, get the handlebars on, and then bottom bracket, foot of the derailleurs, saddle. Can do everything apart from put the cables on at the moment because I'm just waiting for the guide which goes there. So let's start on the front. So what's really cool about this headset is it's made by TDC, TD Cross and Sons. It has these little races which go inside for all the bearings to sit on. It's got one on top and one on bottom. It's just so much easier to take them in and out. And they take 1/8 inch bearings rather than 532s. The 532s? Whatever. So yeah, that's a cool addition to this bike. It's a nice headset. Next, bottom bracket. Fixed cup first with no focus. There we go. A bottom bracket, a cup packed full of grease and bearings. I always pack the cups really full of grease so they don't run out. It's a TDC again. Screw this one in. Just make sure you clean obviously the bottom bracket out after you get a frame powder coated, because there will be bits of grit in there, and remember which way it threads. So for this side it should be reverse threading, so we're gonna do it up, just need to find the right spot. There we go. I actually might have a special tool for this. Oh, I do. Oh, that's weird. Is that cup big? I've actually replaced the cups. They're the same size. Strange. So yeah, this was the old cup, and it was like pitted on the inside, so I just replaced it with one that had spare. But nip that up tight. There's actually like gaps around the top. So fix cup in, flip the frame round, well clean it off, flip the frame round. Do the non-drive side. Packed full of grease. I've actually just had to change the axle because that was pitted or corroded quite a bit as well. So yeah. One cup changed, one axle changed, the drive side was like pretty messed up. So it's just trying to find, oh, I need to degrease this frame after. Trying to find the right point in this now, where there's no play. But it spins freely. Like play, play, play. And now it's time for the cotter pin dance. If I can remember where I put my tools. Here's my hammer. Okay, so we're going for this awesomely good looking close ratio Williams crankset, which will go on there. And you got to remember when you put the cotton pin in, put it in from the bottom so that when you are cranking down, the weight's going onto the pin rather than the nut. Comprende? I'm just going to put this on soft for now, about there, because I want to put it on the ground so I can do those pins up properly with a bit more force rather than in the stand. But don't she look good? While we're down here, I might as well put the front derailleur on. Front derailleur is a Hurate, however the French pronounce it. It's just a band on, and it was original with the bike, I believe. Hopefully it works with the close ratios. So that is just going to go on there. And it's going to be positioned probably about there, I reckon. So it's just a couple of mil above the chain rings. And also while we're here, shifters. Now these Hurate shifters as well, they take a slightly different cable to normal, which I've got. I think they come on tandems as well. So I have to take all these apart to actually install the cables. Oh, I'm covering all the light here. It's a bit of a dark, dismal day. So pump can come off. Okay, shifters on. Let's take a closer look. So that's how they look. Bit dark, but there we go. And that is about as far as I can go just for the moment until I service the wheels. I'm literally just waiting for the cable guide to go there so I can route the cables, because it did have the bike had outer cables all the way around and just clipped to the frame. I think it will look cleaner just with the wire and then the cables from here to here, the outer cables. So I've got a stopper there, just need a guide for there. Yeah, just waiting for that to come, hopefully tomorrow. I'm just going to service the wheels now, and then I can put them on, adjust all the brake levers and stem and handlebar and that, and then it'll just be running the cables. Just feel like I need to show you some proof that I have serviced the hubs. There we go, fresh grease, fresh bearings inside them, all going back together now. Home stretch now. Home stretch. So basically I've just got to put the cables on. That cable guide turned up, that's what I was waiting for. I have actually replaced the rear caliper because the arm was bent on the one that it originally had, so that's been replaced. I've put these lovely Sun Wasp pedals, I think they're called. Sun Wasp. But they are nice pedals. Can I zoom in on those? Bit of corrosion on the barrels, but you know, they're nice. They're nice pedals. They'll suit the bike. And they'll accept toe clips. So yeah, it's literally just put that cable on, put the chain on, and clean my hands and put the bar tape on, because it's going to be white. White cables, or white cable housing, to contrast the orange. Looks good. Fresh cable stop on there. Down here as well. Fresh cable stop and guide. and white cabling. Now because I've got Hewlett shifters here, hopefully I can focus on that. Yeah, Hewlett. They use a special barrel end. They use, can I focus on that? They use this type. It's more of a flat one. That's for normal Shimano, etc. And then this flat type is for Hewlett. So need that. Okay, all the gears are on now, all the cables are on, and because this is such a close ratio chainring, as you can see there-ish, there's 2 chainrings on there. It's such a close ratio. I've had to just raise the front derailleur up a little bit because it was catching on the inner ring when it was in the outer. Just tweaked it as well because there's a very fine tolerance between the crank arm and the derailleur at one point. But yeah, they're on, successful. All work, all shift. I mean, it's just friction, so you can't really go wrong with it. Brakes are done. So I've got that one nicely adjusted. It's clamped down along the top tube here, and I got a good amount looping over the top and down in front of the bars. I think that's completely personal preference at where you have it, but there's a good amount under there. I can even slide a bit more through to get a bit more of an arc on it. And now the part I'm dreading, the last part, apart from checking all the bolts, is putting this bar tape on. I got some white stuff here. White bar tape. I hate white bar tape because my hands are always dirty, but it'll work with the bike. So let's do it. Holy shit, she looks good now. What a transformation. Christ. Alright, I'm going to have to take it out for a spin. And then do a montage and close-ups and all that sort of jazz. there it is, all done. What do you think? A lot of hours, a fair bit of money has gone into this bike. Obviously started as that early 70s O'Brien, which if I did mention was just a bike shop in Coventry, which I guess would have bought in frames, put their name on it, put their own sort of spec on it. But it started out as one of their bikes, and now it's a Holdsworth replica. What have we changed on it? Just changed the chain ring, pedals, brakes, saddle. Did I change the brake levers? Can't remember. Wheels. Yep. Well, one of them, the front wheel anyway. But it's turned out quite nice. I quite like it. If you're interested, it is up for sale for around £250. £250 that is. But it has had, like I say, a lot of work gone into it. You can see from this video what I've done. I really like it. I'd keep it in my collection if I had room. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I've actually got half a dozen or so ready to be, or one ready to be released, and say 5 others that are in the process of being built. So there'll be a few more coming up after this quiet spell. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I will catch you in the next one.